Happy Halloween from Juicy Results. I didn't dress up in the office today, but Jackson decided he wanted to be a referee, so he came in. So since it's Halloween, I want to talk about a huge fear that most people always tell me they have, and that's the fear of public speaking. Now, in the 1970s, there was a survey done where they basically asked 3,000 people to check off all of the things from a list that they were scared of. And believe it or not, the number one fear was public speaking. The number two fear was actually death. So more people were afraid of public speaking than of death. Now, I don't know how much stock to put in the survey because like number 14 was escalators, and 5 people actually checked off that they were scared of escalators. So this was probably a pretty scared bunch in the first place. But I bet that the majority of you out there watching have a fear of getting up in front of a large crowd or even a small room and actually speaking. And I do this all the time. And a lot of people come up to me and say, I could never do that, right? And if you know me, you know my feelings on people saying they can never do anything. Now, I was not born a public speaker. I just simply put myself out there. I decided I wanted to get over this, or this was something I needed to do as part of my career. And now, frankly, I love it when I get to do it because it's natural to me. If I'm prepared, I know that I'm presenting a message. So I just wanted to make a quick video for all of you out there that feel like public speaking is something you want to get involved in or you should get better at, but you're just you're crippled with fear every time you get in front of an audience. So my number one tip for public speaking is to be prepared. Now, that's hard to do if somebody throws you up on stage with no preparation, but the good news is the more you speak, the more prepared you'll feel, even if you don't have the content prepared. So I was the president of a B&I group, and that meant 52 times in a year, every single Wednesday morning, I had to get up in front of 30 or 50 people, and I had to run an hour-and-a-half meeting. And I can assure you that the 52nd week was a lot better than the first 10 or 20 weeks. Every week I was forced to think on my feet, I was forced to prepare my message, and it made me very comfortable so that today you can basically throw me in front of a crowd and I will feel prepared, even if I haven't prepared. So recently I spoke in Toronto at another word camp, and I was speaking about a topic, and it was probably the 4th or 5th time that I spoke about that topic. Now, even though I'd spoken 4 or 5 times, that week I actually recorded myself audio on my Mac 2 or 3 times. And I actually would listen back to my recording. So I'd go through a whole 40-minute presentation, and then I listened to it on the plane on the way there. I listened to it the morning of, and I basically said this presentation so many times and had it played back to me so many times that when I actually had to be in front of the audience and actually give the presentation, I didn't have to worry about the content anymore. I was so prepared, I could focus on what people were reacting to. I could make real-time jokes based on things that I was seeing in the room. And that's why I was coming off as very natural. So if you've ever seen somebody get in front of a group and you say, oh, that person's just a natural, I can assure you that they've put in the time to be prepared so that they were able to do that, okay? So that's a lot of different ways to say it takes time to be prepared, but that's what it's gonna take, okay? So the second thing is my second tip is to focus on the message that you're trying to get across and not to get too tripped up in the actual words. Don't try to script a presentation. Don't try to come up with a word-for-word account for exactly what you're gonna say. If you do that, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna completely trip over yourself and be focused on, did I say the right word? And you're not going to be able to react to anything that happens. And if anything out of the ordinary in the room goes wrong, or if somebody asks a question, it's going to completely rattle you, and it's going to take you way off track. So just really focus on the message that you want to get across versus the actual word-for-word script that you want to give. So my third tip that I always try to prepare, even in these videos very often, because we don't have a script for these videos, I just kind of get on and I start talking, is that I don't have a script prepared, but I always know what the first thing I'm going to say is, and I always know what the last thing I'm going to say is, right? So no matter what happens, I know where I'm starting from. I'm going to cover all the topics that I have in real time. I'm going to riff on them and maybe improvise, and then I'm about a really strong closing. And some of the videos that you've seen that maybe kind of trail off, I've clearly not prepared as good of a closing as I should have, and I get to the end, I don't know what to do, and it just kind of goes south. So you want to have a crisp, strong ending. So there it is. There's no reason on this Halloween to be so scared of public speaking. And if it's important to your career, which I'm a big believer that public speaking can open doors for you, even if we're talking about a small room of people, a strong comfort level and strong skills with getting your message across to a room of 5 or 50 or 500 is only going to help your career and your business and help you basically pull off the things that you want to pull off in your life. So if you're scared, then just write down these 3 tips, over prepare, practice, 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 and there is no substitute for time. Put yourself out there and start doing this over and over again. Go to Toastmasters, join a BNI group, present to your staff, present to your friends, make some videos like we are. And by the end of that, whether it's a month, 6 months, or a year, you're going to be much better off for doing it. So have a happy Halloween, everybody, and see you tomorrow.